Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive day. I just got finished doing a good little training session over at Pivot Boxing Academy. I'm driving around right now, you know what I mean, while my son takes his little nap, or whatever the case is. I figured I'd tap in with y'all about the fights that had happened last night, my thoughts and opinions on the whole situation, and exactly what's next for these guys in the future, or at least what I would like to see them do going into the future, man. I can't predict anything, you know what I mean? I ain't Nostradamus or anything like that, but, you know, I can give my thoughts and opinions as a boxing fan on what they should do moving forward. Now, let's talk about, like the main fights, the Shakur Stevenson and William Cepeda, along with Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz. But, I want to give my little congratulations to Subriel Matias, man. Put on an absolutely phenomenal performance against Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga showed he's an absolute dog. That dude heart is out of this world. Showed some new wrinkles in his game, in my opinion. I didn't know that he could box that well. I didn't know that he could box that well on the back foot. You know what I mean? From what I've seen with Edgar Berlanga, he likes to stand his ground and unleash counters, and disrupt guys' offense and stuff like that, and, good hand speed and all that. But I didn't know that his conditioning was set up like that, man, because Subriel pushed him to the limit. And he just kept fighting. And he fought all the way through to the end. And in all honesty, you can make a case that Edgar Berlanga won that fight against Subriel. I thought it was 7-5 either way. You know what I'm saying? If you had to score the draw, that's cool as well. But definitely wasn't a robbery in my opinion. You feel what I'm saying? Now, Subriel Matias is now a two-time world champion in the 140-pound division and makes his name relevant amongst the other champions yet again. You see what I'm saying? So congratulations to Subriel Matias, man. We got another world title back in Puerto Rico. Now, let's talk about Shakur Stevenson versus William Cepeda, man. The fight pretty much went exactly how I thought in terms of Shakur Stevenson dominating and outclassing William Cepeda, but I did not know that Shakur Stevenson was going to take this approach with William Cepeda. What do I mean by that? I did not expect the Philly shell from Shakur Stevenson consistently throughout the fight. I didn't expect him to, be okay with sitting on the ropes while William Cepeda attempts to, implement his style in the fight. You see what I'm saying? That wasn't something that I expected Shakur Stevenson to do. I thought that he was going to, use some lateral movement here and there. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, keep William Cepeda at the end of his punches. You know what I mean? Keep him out of range and, completely neutralize his volume. You see what I'm saying? Which I believe is William Cepeda's best ability. And I did see him do it in spots. I seen Shakur use his feet a few times during the fight. And, I seen Shakur Stevenson mix it up. And what impressed me more than anything, and obviously we be talking about his defense a lot, but how well-versed he is defensively and how versatile he could be defensively. You know what I mean? Shakur Stevenson, he could use his feet, and that could be his first line of defense. He could sit in front of you and make you miss in the pocket. That's another tool that he could use defensively. And now he's showing you that he got the Philly shell down packed. You see what I'm saying? And personally, somebody who used the Philly shell myself, you know what I'm saying? That takes a certain amount of reflexes. It takes a certain amount of timing defensively and focus to really master that style, in my opinion, just based off of, what I've done in the gym and shit like that. And Shakur Stevenson is an absolute animal when it comes to the defense, just because of how versatile he could be with it. You know what I mean? There's some guys that have solid defense, but they only have that one line of defense. You feel what I'm saying? If you get past that, then, they're basically going to be in trouble. Shakur has an arsenal of defensive approaches that he could take. You know what I mean? If defense A don't work, he could resort to defense B. If defense B don't work, he could resort to defense C. Like, this man is absolutely incredible. I ain't gonna lie to you. And what impressed me more than anything was Shakur Stevenson didn't look like he had hand issues. It seemed like he was still alluding to it at the press conference, but he was letting his hands go at will. So not only is this man a defensive genius, in my opinion, but he's an extremely accurate puncher as well. You know what I mean? And from moving forward, y'all, I'm going to just say, man, y'all got to leave the run-in narrative with Shakur Stevenson alone. This kid could fucking fight his ass off, and there's not much that he like isn't capable of doing in the ring. He's very well versed. He's well schooled. He's extremely polished as a boxer. You see what I'm saying? He letting his hands go, punching in bunches, 3, 4, 5 punch combinations, and a majority of the punches are landing. I had somebody in the chat tell me that he landed like 56% of his punches. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that was overall punches or power punches, but regardless, that's an extremely high statistic, regardless of whether it was total punches or power punches. That's absolutely phenomenal. There's only very few fighters who are able to land at that percentage. Like, I can remember like Erislandy Lara landing on a high percentage like that. Floyd Mayweather, of course, just accurate pinpoint punchers. You see what I'm saying? So efficient punchers. So Shakur Stevenson needs to get as much credit offensively that he gets defensively moving forward. You see what I'm saying? And I see people trying to discredit William Cepeda. I had somebody at the gym try to discredit him and say that he was a bum. Bro, we not about to do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? This y'all was over here talking about how, his style could be Shakur's kryptonite. And y'all was also saying that he was ranked in every sanctioning body in the lightweight division. So this is like unanimously, according to the sanctioning bodies, the #1 contender in the entire division. High knockout ratio, undefeated. You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to knock it off, man. You know what I mean? It's okay to be critics and not be fans of people, but at the same time, we got to give these motherfuckers they just do. So Shakur Stevenson, absolutely impressive. There were a lot of people that performed well that night. You know what I mean? I think Shakur Stevenson had the most dominating performance, in my opinion. You could probably give Cepeda 3 rounds, but me personally, I only gave him I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna give him 3 rounds. You know what I mean? Because there were certain moments where Shakur was staying on the ropes a little too long, or staying in the pocket a little too long. And there was also moments where, even though Cepeda wasn't landing cleanly on Shakur, which 99.9% of Shakur's opponents seem to have the same issue, he still was outworking Shakur. Sometimes Shakur would, stay in the pocket a little too long, and Cepeda would throw 6 punches. Oh, my boy, wait. He'll throw 6 punches, and Shakur would just try to counter off with 1. It was in small little spots. So, you know what I mean? I'll be generous and, score 117, 110 in favor of Shakur Stevenson. But nonetheless, it was an absolutely dominating performance. You know what I mean? If you want to give him less rounds than that, then that's completely justifiable as well. Now, the main event between Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga, man, I told you guys that Edgar Berlanga, in all honesty, only had a puncher's chance. You see what I'm saying? And I was saying that because when we talking about skills, Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga are not on the same level, y'all. I felt like Edgar Berlanga was a product of good matchmaking, and I told you guys, all them 16, 17 first-round knockouts that he had, or whatever the case was, really got in the way of his development and growth as a fighter. You see what I mean? And, Top Rank, we got to give him credit for making him look good in that moment. But at the same time, you could say that they hurt Edgar Berlanga because they didn't give him the fights that would have gave him the experience necessary to possibly have some type of positive result against a Hamza Shiraz or even a Canelo Alvarez. You see what I'm saying? But, they gave him, minimal competition, no notable names whatsoever. And, like I said, he skipped the line for a huge opportunity at Canelo Alvarez. He became Canelo Alvarez's cherry pick, and ever since then, he's been walking around talking about how he's this big vet and how, he learned so much from the Canelo fight, and he's the king of New York. And, I never seen somebody let a loss get to their head as much as Edgar Berlanga. You know what I mean? He literally convinced himself that he stood in the pocket with Canelo. He went toe-to-toe with him, and he gave pretty much insinuating that he gave Canelo a tough fight when he was utterly dominated by Canelo Alvarez. And then went on to take an extremely disgraceful cherry pick after the case, got back in the winning column. Now he's going up against Hamza Shiraz, who he probably had confidence in facing because he had an iffy bout against Carlos Adames. But one thing I am going to tell you is Carlos Adames is a much better fighter skill-wise than Edgar Berlanga. So, it just comes down to Edgar being underprepared, and you could probably chalk that up to his previous matchmakers or whatever, and his arrogance, because since he feels like he he did well against the Canelo Alvarez, which he didn't, but since he felt like he did so, he thought he had what it took to defeat Hamza Shiraz. I told you guys off of the rips, Hamza Shiraz is the more skilled fighter, and he possesses punching power just like Edgar Berlanga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why people was underestimating his punching ability in this thing and acting like, knocking out Edgar Berlanga wasn't a realistic situation. It was extremely realistic. And I told you guys that Edgar Berlanga, he's a tough fighter or whatever. He got heart. We've seen it in his previous bouts, but we're not going to sit here and act like he could take the best punch either. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him get hit by lower, like, non-notable names who might have had some punching power or whatever, and him not react well. We've seen this man come off the canvas against guys he ain't have no business being on the canvas against. You see what I'm saying? Canelo Alvarez, although he has punching power, he had a significant weight advantage over the night of the fight, and he's a small super middleweight who came from 154 pounds. You getting dropped by guys like him when you coming in 193 pounds. It's like, bro, you don't have the sturdiest chin. You see what I'm saying? And going into that fight, Edgar Berlanga had some success in the early rounds. He got stopped in 5, but in them early rounds, he was showcasing a good jab. I seen him land a couple right hands on Hamza Shiraz and stuff like that. And he was doing well. But what I was noticing was Edgar Berlanga has terrible defensive tendencies. He loses focus defensively, and I was noticing how he wasn't bringing his hands back when he would go from offense to defense. And I'm seeing these motherfucking right hands from Hamza Shiraz whiz by like a bullet, whizzing by Edgar Berlanga's head. And I'm like, bro, it's only a matter of time before one of these shots connects. You see what I'm saying? And Edgar Berlanga, from what I saw, he tried to roll underneath a shot with his right hand down. Hamza sees that. He lands a nasty left hook on Edgar Berlanga's temple, and it seemed like his equilibrium went out from there. Hamza Shiraz puts together a combination and floors Edgar Berlanga. He gets up. He acts like he's okay. He resumes the match. Hamza Shiraz puts together, I believe he ends that combination with the right hand, and he falls face first. Edgar Berlanga falls face first. To be honest with you, they should have stopped the fight right there and then. It's never a good sign when a fighter, although his shoulder broke his fall, it's never a good sign to see a fighter fall forward. That just lets you know that, they're completely out of it, and they shouldn't continue boxing for their own safety reasons. You feel what I'm saying? He gets saved by the bell. He comes out, but, and I've seen his corner try their best. I've seen them putting ice water on him and trying to, bring him back to his senses, but the damage was already done. It was irreversible in that moment. He comes out. Hamza Shiraz throws a left hook right hand right down the pipe. And from there, he was about to take another tumble, and the referee saves him from further damage. So Hamza Shiraz gets the 5th round stoppage. You see what I'm saying? And puts on an impressive showing, to be honest with you, man, because, I never really felt like Edgar Berlanga was a top super middleweight. I felt like he was only being mentioned because he got the Canelo fight and he's popular, like, in the hip-hop community or whatever with Fat Joe and Lil Wayne and all them. Like, I didn't really think he did anything in terms of defeating notable opposition to be placed amongst the top-tier super middleweights. But, he was a popular name. So I guess that's a great win for Hamza Shiraz to give him some recognition. And, it may be embarrassing on, Edgar Berlanga's part, considering all the trash talking he did and, him getting knocked out in his hometown in front of his own people and shit like that. But, when you're not ready for a certain step in your boxing career, boxing's going to find a way to let you know that. So it is what it is. What I would like to see Hamza Shiraz do next, I would like to see him, I don't know if he's deserving of that Canelo Alvarez opportunity. I guess that's pending. After Canelo Alvarez faces Terrence Crawford, we'll see what happens then and there. But I would like to see a big fight between Hamza Shiraz and like a Diego Pacheco, man. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see that fight. Like I think Diego Pacheco is lined up with like Trevor McCumbee as of right now. But like Diego Pacheco versus Hamza Shiraz, that's a great fucking fight. 2 tall, rangy, hard-punching super middleweights. That'll be a great fight to see exactly, where these guys are both at. You know what I'm saying? Hamza Shiraz versus Christian Mbili, that's another great fight that they could make. Christian Mbili is definitely a threat in the division. There's some great fights, man. I don't know, like Jamal Charlo. I think he's still waiting for like the Caleb Plant opportunity or whatever the case is. Caleb Plant's coming off of a loss. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind actually seeing Edgar Berlanga and Caleb Plant fight each other now. They both coming off of losses. Why not? You see what I'm saying? Unless, Caleb Plant goes straight into the Jamal Charlo smoke, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight neither. Now, in regards to what I would like to see for Shakur Stevenson, shit, I would like to see him get the ultimate fight with, Gervonta Davis. I would love to see that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a fight that needs to be made, but, Gervonta Davis got bigger issues right now other than boxing, if you get what I'm saying. If you heard the news, you heard the news. If Shakur Stevenson isn't able to get that, I guess he could explore his options in the 140-pound division. Maybe that's a scenario. I just don't really see anybody at 135 that's worthy of an opportunity with Shakur Stevenson right now besides the other champions. You know what I'm saying? Do they wait for the winner of Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason? I don't know. I don't know, man. So I guess we'll wait and see. You feel what I mean? I guess we'll wait and see. Who's the IBF champion at 135 right now? I'm drawing a blank. I'm gonna have to do my Googles on that. The IBF champion at 135. Who the fuck would that be? Damn, I'm really drawing a blank, man. Too many people to keep up with. But a unification fight, if it's possible for Shakur Stevenson, why not? If Gervonta Davis isn't able to fight Lamar Roach, Shakur Stevenson, Lamar Roach, you know what I mean? They could make something happen. Oh, Raymond Mortatalia. I'm sorry. Raymond Mortatalia with the IBF. That would be a good fight for Shakur Stevenson as well. You feel what I'm saying? So there's some options for these guys, man. I don't think Shakur gets tanked next, so I guess the next possible option would be like a unification fight if it's possible. I don't know how those unification fights will work out, considering the fact that Shakur and Top Rank don't have the best business relationship, but with Turki Al-Sheikh, maybe they could make something happen. You feel what I mean? But great card nonetheless, man. Controversial fights, competitive fights, impressive victories. We got a little bit of everything on that card last night. You feel what I mean? But you know what I mean? That's boxing for you. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this. If y'all been tuned in this long, I appreciate you guys very much. Y'all go ahead and hit the like button. Y'all subscribe. I'll be on live tonight, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You feel what I mean? If you appreciate the content, subscribe to the channel, Mazuma TV, the home of boxing excellence. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.